Hello, welcome to TCI, everybody. TCI family, love you guys. It's Thursday night as we deliver our Monday and Thursday messages. This week, I wish you all the best. If you're wondering, why is our pastor out in the cold and he in the tank top? It is a little chilly out. I ain't gonna lie to you. I got some ink work done, and if you just fresh, so if you cover it, I don't want the ink to bleed into a shirt and ruin a shirt. So we're gonna leave it out there. You might like it, by the way. That is the TCI logo. It's beautiful, and once it gets all healed and everything, I'll make sure I show it. But it is the actual logo for our church, the Church of Inclusion. And we want to thank you all for, and again, I ask everybody, when you get these messages, if you've been touched by it, please forward these messages and share them on Facebook and Instagram and any other social media platform that you might have, because there are hurting people out there that need to get this message from TCI that God loves all people. And we want to find a way to get to those people that need love from us and from you. And so helping that message get out there can really do that. Now, I want to talk today about some interesting things. You've all heard this term before. It's repetition is the mother of all learning. And it's been said in a few different ways, but in a nutshell, repetition is the mother of all learning. The great painters, Picasso and all of the Michelangelos and the greats, right? They didn't come out of the womb, meaning they didn't get popped out of mom and go, hey, I just made the Virgin Mary statue. That does not how it works. So how did they become great? Did they have a prerequisite inside of their DNA? Was something in the very beginning of their brain, did it say, you are an amazing painter? No. See, I've actually asked amazing painters that are alive today. Now, one that is dead, his name was Thomas Kincaid, the painter of light. And let me tell you something. At a conference, he was taking questions, and the one got up that emailed, it was from me. I was just a guy in the audience at a church function. And it says, were you born this way? Or did you have to learn how to paint? He said, I believe I have a gift in me from birth. But he said, I had to learn to cultivate it. And he says, if you just look at my first few scratches and paintings, they were horrible. But I mastered it. Michelangelo and all of these great people. Michael Jordan didn't wake up and just have that basketball in his hand and say, hey, I can do this from birth. No, he had to get out there and play and play and play and practice and practice. Jerry Lucas didn't become one of the greatest NBA players of all time because he was like, yeah, I'm tall. Just because you're tall doesn't make you successful in the NBA. I got a lot of tall friends that are over 7 feet, close to 8, and they didn't make it. Okay, they were good in college, they were good and great in high school, but when you get to the NBA, it's a whole nother game. So how do you do it? Repetition. Sit there and throw that free throw over and over. And you do that 600 times, 700 times in one day, every day, day in, day out, day in, day out. Repetition is the mother of all learning. So if you want to be a great painter, paint a lot. If you want to be a great speaker, speak a lot. Look back at what you've done, analyze it, figure out how you can improve on it, and become better at it. And that, my friends, is how that repetition. If you've ever fired a gun, you don't get good at shooting a gun by just going and buying a gun and taking it out one time and going bang, 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 bang. Oh yeah, that was good. No, it's repetition. All of my family members who have been in the military, you guys all know this. Everybody in the military knows this. Why do they do war games every single year, over and over and over? It's because those war games are to try to train our military so when the real war happens, they've actually been in that war mentally by training over and over and over and over. And they're more prepared than if they didn't go through that. And so that is one of the things that repetition can do, is it will help us to become educated better in our field or in an area where you want to improve. Now, what is stupidity? And what is the definition of insanity? That's a good question. I'm sitting out here as the sun is totally fading down, and I am insane, by all means, because I am out in a tank top. No, because I don't do this often. So the definition of insanity, you've heard it, is to do the same thing over again and expect a different result. Most of you all know I have a ministry that works in many different fields. We work with executives and the GQs and the grandparents, but we also work with a large population of hardened criminals, guys who are not your, how do we say it? They're not your the guy you bring home to mom, okay? Most of these guys are tough, hardened, beat down a lot of people. Now, unfortunately, we do have a higher percentage of guys that just don't make it. And, we try to teach them. We try to love on them. We try to do everything for them. But they just keep doing the same thing over, but they keep expecting a different result. I had a guy once that was with me, and he thought because he was just around me, like you just need to be near me and hearing these great messages. And if you did that, then maybe it would all fix everything. But here's the thing, that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. Get some light over here on us. It's not natural light, but that might help a little. And so, here's the interesting thing. You could sit around with Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar's, I don't care. President Obama, Oprah, President Bush, President Trump, whoever your favorite person is, whoever you think is the most successful person. And if you hang around them long enough, yes, maybe you can change some things because they should bleed into you, meaning their success techniques should bleed over into you. But that's not going to fix it. You have to actually perform the duties. If I want to lose weight, I can be around anybody that's lost the weight, but until I actually, which I'm about to literally go into a gym, and before I go into that gym, if I just sit there and say, hey, I'm going to lose some weight today. I ate good, but, I'm going to lose it. Doesn't work that way. I got to go to that gym right now and get my money. I got to get in that gym and I got to say, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do, today is Thursday. So today we're going to do arms, and that's biceps, triceps, forearms. I'm going to do some shrugs and get my traps going. I have my routine. If I stick to that and I keep being diligent day in, day out, and I hit my mountains and I do my hikes and I eat the right foods, then you'll lose weight. It's that simple. Certain amount of calories, more exercise than that calorie, you lose weight. But if you just think I'm going to lose it, it's not going to work that way. And this guy that lived with my outfit, this was a long time ago, he'd been kicked out of multiple houses that he had been in, transitional homes. And he got to this house that I had that was a transitional house. And again, like I said, this was years back. He thought by just coming to the house that would fix his problems, but it didn't. See, he was an addicted person to drugs. He is addicted to drugs. And unfortunately, this grown man, he's only a couple years younger than me. And unfortunately, his habits just never stopped. He doesn't care. He really doesn't. He likes the drugs. But then days later, when he's got no money and he's broke, and he's sitting there going, I don't understand how I need money like you. How do I get wealthy? And I just would say, I've shared with you how to do it. I've shared with you this keys to success, but you're not applying them. And see, you can read the book. I've read the same books that a lot of my friends have read, and they never applied the knowledge in them, the step 1 through 10. They never tried it and just said, it's not going to work for me. Well, guess what? If you don't try it, it isn't going to work. I can't remember where I read this, but it was one of the universities, and I believe it was, I want to say Missouri, and it was the state university. And now don't quote me on this one, but they did a study on people who buy books. And I was stunned when I found out that, like, out of 10 people who buy a book to read it, it was something like 80% read the cover on the inside when they bought it. And then when they get home, they kind of read the forward of the book, possibly into the first chapter a little, and that was it. And I'm like, wait a second. The majority of people don't even read the whole book? I got a library, and it's not a massive library. I got maybe just over 1,000 books. I've not only read every one, I've made notes of them, and I've reread the ones that impacted my life. But there's some of them I only read one time. I was like, it's good stuff, but it ain't for me. Okay? But the ones that hit me, John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, that was huge because he was one of my actual mentors. I hung out at the church in San Diego. I was able to learn from this guy before he was the guy who's the expert on leadership globally, right? But that book, I have studied it for 21 years. 21 years I have read those chapters month after month to become better at them. And if you think I feel like I've arrived because I'm 46 years old and I'm successful, no way. Actually, I think contrary. I think when you think you've arrived and when you think you're successful is actually when you need to even be more cautious, more diligent at trying to continue to improve yourself. So what I want to talk to you about doing is making some good habits. And why not make bad habits? Well, there's a reason why you don't want to. And in the Bible, let's talk about a guy named Saul. He was the first king of Israel. And I can tell you the story about a Buddhist like this, and every faith has a story like this. But I'm going to talk about Saul. So King Saul, Israel never had a king at this time. They always had a judge. So you had the judges, and the judge made all the decisions. But here's what happened. They wanted a king. So they went to God and said, we want a king. And the prophet, which spoke for God, said, okay, you want a king? You got it. Well, they picked one. And the guy's name was Saul. Now, Saul was a very good-looking man. They said he was tall. Some reports say that they think he was somewhere above 6 feet for sure. And back then, that was a huge man because men were not that tall. Humans were not that tall. And so he was a very tall. They said he was really good-looking, and he was a man's man. So the men in the tribes, the other 12 tribes, all of them, they looked up to him. They're like, yeah, that's the king. Okay, so they pick this cat. He becomes king. Lots of drama happens. Long story short, he makes bad mistakes. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. He keeps making them. He made them so much that God literally replaces him and says, okay, you're done. I'm bringing a new guy in named David. He lost his life on the battlefield. He did things that were horrible. He tried to kill his son-in-law. He did all kinds of very bad things. But here's the thing. It was the same mistake made over and over and over. Kind of like the guy I was talking about. This man who was a drug addict. He went to one house, did the exact thing he did to get in, and got kicked out. Went to the next house, sang the sob story. It's all someone else's fault. And then he did it again. And then, 3rd time. And then, a 4th time. And then I had to go ahead and let him go. Now, you don't understand, if we take and learn a good habit by doing it over and over and over, what happens if you do a bad habit, but you do it over and over and over? You starting to catch on? See, Saul, he had it down. He had the same technique that Michelangelo, that Thomas Kincaid, that Michael Jordan, that the presidents have to learn to have this talent. And that is, when you find the things that make you successful, you do them over and over and you repeat it until you're really good at it. And then people are like, man, you're such a success. And you're like, yeah, it really took a lot of work. Now, of course, we don't say that. We try to act like, oh, I was naturally born this way. Let me tell you the only thing I was naturally born at doing. I came out of the womb and I just never talked because I don't talk much naturally. That's about the only thing naturally that I did, okay? I naturally loved people since I was a boy. So for me, that came naturally. But that's the part you got to understand. You have to work at it. And it's not easy. Now, I am Mr. Positive, right? Everyone knows it. Go look on my Facebook page. It says it. People that have known me my whole life, they're like, you're Mr. Positive. When you get a tumor and cancer, you just are like, yeah, let's take this on. I need to go to that treatment center when they send me there because somebody needs to be encouraged. When I had the heart attacks, it doesn't matter what my problem, like, thank God I'm going to be in that hospital. Somebody there needs to hear from me that they're loved. Somebody needs to hear that you can make it through this, that stroke is not the end of your life because I've lived through 2 of them plus 32 mini strokes, okay? So, how do you do that? Well, I'm also Mr. Negative. Uh-oh, I'm starting to tell on me. Yes, I am actually also Mr. Negative sometimes, but only in my life. Meaning, when it comes to me, sometimes I go, it's all coming down. And one of my best friend in the world, she said to me this. She said, why don't you try to change that? And I got offended. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, listen, okay, I'm the expert. And everything I was saying was Saul. I was hearing Saul, literally the words that he told people. I'm the king. Well, I'm the man. I got this down. People pay me millions of dollars to teach them. Tony Robbins was paid millions of dollars to teach people about marriage. He went through divorce. What? Huh? Yeah. The greatest people you know still struggle. Just because I'm Mr. Positive doesn't mean I'm always positive. So how do I overcome that habit? Forget everyone else. How do I overcome that? Because I don't want to be Saul. And I've started a new routine. And they say it takes 21 days. They tell us in the science, I say they, if you go Google it, how many days should you do something every day for it to become a habit? Most of the places tell you 21 to 28 days. I say hogwash, I think it's 3 months, 90 days. I think the 21, 28 day thing is actually a great start. And if you can get through that, it's downhill from there. It's so simple. But after 3 months of going out and walking for 4 miles every day, you'll never not walk 4 miles. It's really that easy. You're like, this is nothing. I got this. And you do. And it's a good, healthy habit. So what you need to do is because I'm telling you what I need to do, but what is it you need to do? See, Saul in the Bible, he needed to stop thinking it was his world. He thought it was all about him. It was about Saul. He's like, I'm the king, the first king. It's a legacy. My sons will take over. And that all didn't work out that way. So you need to step back and analyze, what am I doing? Am I really the one to blame? Trust me, the second things fall apart in my life, I don't do this. Him, her, they, that. I could have done it if this would have happened. If my business partner didn't take advantage of me. If my ex-wife didn't take $500,000 and run off with my kids. If this didn't happen. If that person didn't lie. Hey, excuses are like, you know what? And we all got them. I know you're like, wait, did our pastor just say that? Absolutely. Because I'm real and I'm not going to just dance around the subject. Okay, we got to stop making excuses, folks. I can't sit there and say, listen, you can fix this by having healthy habits. If I can't do it myself, well, the rest of my life, you will always hear me talking about what faults I have and how I'm going to try to improve them. And every day I keep trying to improve them by just being better. Okay? You don't have to succeed every time, but if you put that effort every day forward, you will eventually succeed through and you will break through. And then all of a sudden, what used to be hard for you is simple. So for me, when I go to the hospital because of an illness, I'm all excited because someone there is going to get blessed. And it happens every time. And when you go through a death, there's a reason I've performed over 1,000 funerals and have been at the bedside of hundreds of people as they pass. I get that call because they want me there. Because I've transitioned to the other side 3 times. And they want someone to be with them so they're not scared. So that they have someone to hold that hand, even though they got all their family there. Now, I'm really good at that. Not because I was born that way. I had to work at it. I had to work at that. And I had to try to really, really figure out how to become better. And just because I'm really good at it doesn't mean that I'm there and I've arrived. I've had the loss of children. I've had pain that I'm sure you've had even more, but I've had a lot of pain in my life. If you hear the noise, that's a plane right there above my finger. We're out here in the beautiful county of Snohomish County. There's a gorgeous little town called Arlington. That's the airport. So, my point to you is this. You got problems in your life. I got problems in mine. What are you doing about your problems? So what is it that you're going to do to fix your problems? How are you going to fix them? And we need to look at that and get a plan of attack. Because, right, once we can figure out what to do, all we need to do then is set the goal, make the plan, get our mentors, and figure out how to get there. Adjust course if need be, go through the mountain, go around the mountain, blow the mountain up, whatever it takes. Let's get to that goal. Let's make those plans. But we've got to first analyze, what are we doing wrong? Am I a Saul? Is it all about me? It's a good question. Do I make mistakes? Yeah. You know, marriage, when my marriage failed after 19 and a half years, I didn't run around and go, it's all my ex's fault. You don't know. Listen, I could tell you stories. I could tell you stories of having a stroke and being left in just horrible places, and I can't move for hours upon hours. And I could blame all that. But guess what? So could she. She could say a lot of bad things about me too. See, it's a 50-50 relationship. And even if the other person did most of the damage, you still have a 50% job there. You had a job, and if you did it or didn't do it or did it right, we got to own our mistakes. We got to own our faults and say, you know what? I forgive that person and I let it go. I can't do that, man. You don't know. They beat me. They abused me. They raped me. I've lived through things that are brutal. And I love those people. Because everything you've been through makes you who you are. I'm going to share some things right now that I don't think I've shared with a lot of people. Let me tell you the first thing. I had a stroke. I had to wear diapers. I was in my 30s. Do you know what it's like to be a man? I'm only a man, so I don't know what it's like to be a woman. But do you know what it's like to be a man who now has a diaper? Who can't walk? Who has to have people clean his bottom? I was one of the greatest in my industry. I made a fortune. People wanted to be like me. I thought I was there. And now I've got people wiping my behind. I had to have my eldest son and a wife carry me to the bathroom and leave me to clean myself. I've been left in the bed by an ex-wife in a diaper for a day, many times. And there's nothing I could do but sit there. I can't move. You say, oh, that's not that bad. You have no clue what it does to your manhood, to your ego, to you. How do you have sex? How do you take care of your wife? All these things that are going through your head, you are shot. Well, guess what? I'll tell you how I overcame it. I overcame it by the little technique I just shared with you. Every day I did something to get out of it. Every day I put a mindset and a goal that I'm going to get to that bathroom by myself, and I'm going to be able to take off my diaper and clean myself. Now, I know that sounds really gross, but I know there's people out here right now that are struggling with that, and you need to hear this message. I had a friend, she called up about a month ago and said she was raped when she was younger, and I can't understand that. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but you all know I've been to prison. I've done time. One of the times that I went to prison, I had one of my 2 strokes. And I was raped. I don't think I've actually ever said that publicly. I really don't. A little harder to say than I thought it would be. But if I can't share with you the things that I've lived through, the hell that I have lived through. And once I shared it with her, she's like, oh my God. She looked at me and said, that's horrifying. I said, yeah, it is. So don't tell me I don't know what you're going through. Now, I don't know what everyone's going through, and I haven't been through every problem, so I can't relate to every person. But I had to live through that. And that was the only time in my life that I remember, twice, actually, I take that back. There was twice in my life that I was just, I want to die. I don't want to live. What woman's going to want to be with a guy like that? Really? I was the Irish beast. I was the guy known for breaking knees. I was the kid who no one saw, and I was running a beautiful empire under the claws of, my daddy's the preacher, and I'm just the little pastor's kid who just, parties a little once in a while, but yeah, nothing bad, officer. Oh, no problem. You go ahead, Mr. Brown. Don't worry about it. Yeah, don't mind that body in the trunk. It's okay about the kilos. No, that's fictional, by the way, in case the FBI is watching. At least that's what my attorney would say. I can laugh about it now. But there's some things that I have had to go through that make me realize by sharing this stuff with you that you can see that I'm just a human like you. And we're all just men and women trying to get through this earth, this existence, this hell, because hell is not a place you go to. You're in it. And how you live it is up to you. Are you going to live in hell or are you going to live in heaven? I'm choosing to live in heaven while in hell. Okay? And I love it. It's beautiful. Those lights behind me, what a gorgeous place. An airfield, beautiful location. You could complain. You could say, there's too many people here. The traffic's horrible. All true. I agree. But I'm going to choose to focus on the good. But I was raped in prison. Yep. But I can help people that have gone through that experience now that I never could before. So God, thank you for the guy who did that. No, thank you. And I'm not saying bless him. That's not what I'm saying, okay? I'm not telling you to go bless the people who harmed you. But you do have to actually say, Lord, I forgive him, God. I do. I forgive him. It's okay. I forgive him. Even though they don't deserve it. Even though the guy died not too long after. Someone ended up actually, this just a random thing, but the people he hung with, he ended up dying. I still loved that guy. I loved the man that hurt me. I loved the ex-wife who left me in fecal matter. I love them. And I'm grateful for the experience because I am the man I am right now because of that. Because of all those experiences, I can work with people. I can understand and have empathy for people that I never had before. JB wouldn't be JB without all those experiences. And you wouldn't be you without all your pain and all your suffering. So you have a choice. You can be like Saul, right? And you can just keep repeating the crap over and over and over and get kicked out of job after job after job. And you wake up in the 40s going, I don't get why everyone just fires me. It's just, God, there's mean people. No, hey, knucklehead, wake up. It's because you're an idiot. Listen, I'm an idiot at times, okay? I know, you're probably not used to hearing a pastor say you're an idiot. When you do the same thing over and over and over again, like Saul, you're an idiot. You got to stop. Learn what you did wrong. Change it. Set your goals. Make your plans. Get your mentors to advise you. And make a new shot at the top of that goal. Don't do the same thing over and over again. Repetition is the mother of all learning. Let's make sure we're learning the right things. Because Saul and the knucklehead that was with me before, years back, they learned repetition is the mother of all learning. They just kept repeating the bad stuff. And it cost Saul his life. And this other cat, now almost in his 50s. And this guy, he's still the same guy. I touch base every once in a while. Still always homeless, living in cars, bouncing around, and it's always someone's fault. So, I love you guys. God loves you. As this message sinks in, what are you doing that you need to change? What is the bad thing that you got to focus on? Because for me, in my year of 2022, I got a lot of goals, as y'all know. We got a lot of big things happening with houses we're purchasing for homeless, houses for inmates coming out of prison. Right now, we got 500 men coming out of the prison this month, more than normal. And so they have a need for us to find a house for these people. I'm working on it, okay? I got a lot of people that are helping to contribute and find out how they can help us. But I also have personal goals. And one of them is to become more positive with myself, like I am for others when they need me. Okay? What do you need to work on? I love you guys. God loves you. Reach out to us. Repost this message if any of it resonated with you, if any of it helped you. Don't be afraid to go ahead and introduce this to somebody because there are people out there that need to hear what TCI is doing for you guys. Listen, this isn't something I just talk about. I live it. That's my church's symbol for our church. TCI. And the symbols of all the different things that we belong to. So I want you to hear that message. I want it to resonate with you that TCI loves you. TCI is here to help you. Don't just be a person looking in and seeing a couple videos. We get a lot of messages saying, God, we loved it. It was great. It was great. Well, if you want to make some changes, pick up the phone. We're not going to charge you millions of dollars to help you. We're going to just charge one cost. Here's the cost that it will cost you. We just want you to receive love from us. And if you'll be willing to receive our love, then God bless you. We want you to turn around and love us back. And let's do it together. Let's do this journey together. All right, guys, I love you.